What's up guys, this is Kephas. I am legally blind and today I'm going to talk about New Year's resolutions. Yes, we visually impaired types set resolutions just like everybody else. And like everybody else, half the time we don't follow through with them. But in 2012, I set a resolution that I actually followed through with. At the turn of the new year, I was feeling as if I was living with my parents a lot longer than I wanted to. So it was about time for me to get out on my own. After all, I didn't want to be that 40-year-old guy playing video games in my mother's basement. I mean, come on, playing video games in your own apartment is a lot more dignified. So I made up my mind that I was going to move out on my own. The problem was I wasn't even sure if it was possible. You see, at that time, I didn't really know what I was getting into. To be completely honest, my life skills were pretty underdeveloped. I mean, I grew up in an environment where people took on the mentality that rather than teaching me how to do something, since I had an eyesight problem, it was easier for them to just do it for me. I was never really comfortable with this, but that's just how it was. And on top of that, since I wasn't able to drive, it was pretty much a pain to get around anywhere. And public transit had screwed me over more times than I care to think of. So I was home a lot. And as for money, well, what's that? Things were looking pretty bleak, but I was determined. So I ended up staying with my uncle for a little while, and just as if Yoda had taken on a new Padawan, he taught me everything I needed to know. Uncle taught me how to cook, clean, and take care of myself, and for the first time, I was starting to feel independent. I had gone from having everyone doing things for me to now doing things for myself, and it felt really good. And it wasn't always easy. Uncle had to teach me how to do things that were best suited for someone with a vision problem, which is different from how a normal person might do things. I mean, I remember the first time I went to a grocery store with him. I think it had been years since I'd been into a store. And let me tell you, I was pretty stressed out, to say the least. 3 months later, I felt like a completely different person. Those things that I was learning were now routine, and even going to the grocery store was a simple task. I was beaming with confidence, and I felt like I could take on the world. But I figured I'd start out by getting an apartment. The stars were aligned perfectly, and I found my apartment in one day. And just 3 short days after signing the lease, I was moved in. And for the first time in my life, I was living on my own. And it felt fantastic. I moved into a place that was within walking distance to my bank, the post office, the grocery store, the barber shop, the drugstore, and most importantly, Arby's. Since then, I've been living on my own and loving every minute of it. And this has been one of the best years of my life. Except for that one day when I passed a kidney stone. And that's just a small glimpse into the life of the legally blind. This is Kephas. Until next year.